Welcome back to one of the last places in America where opposing sides are not only respectfully listened to, but sometimes even agreed with. You know I'm your host, Titan, and you also know this show is making waves. Now, for those of you who might be new, first of all, where the heck you been? Secondly, let me tell you how this is going to all go down. We have chosen a hot topic that is important to this industry. We have two great volunteers who have agreed to argue opposing sides. And then we have 5 anonymous judges who are going to listen while each volunteer spends 4 minutes on opening arguments, then answers 4 rebuttal questions, and then spends 2 minutes each wrapping up. The judges are then going to say who had the better argument, and then you guys out there get to judge the judges. This is going to be fun, and I'm telling you, the next 20 minutes might not change your life, but they just might change your mind. And it is all brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, MetaMeal. Hey, Riptide, what do you say we make some waves? And greetings, judges. Thank you very, very much. You are so important. The show does not happen without you. So thank you very much, judges, for being a part of this. Now, as you know, you are anonymous, so there's no pressure on you to vote one way or the other. We would like you to please leave your personal opinions aside and base your judgment tonight solely on what you hear in this show. Now, before I introduce our 2 awesome volunteers, and judges, by the way, a little heads up, I need you to use your imagination for a little bit tonight, but I'll show you that. I'll talk about that in just a second. First of all, let's find out what the heck the topic is for tonight's show. Tonight, they are arguing the topic, digital versions of video games should be less expensive than physical copies. Digital versions of video games should be less expensive than physical copies. Let's find out who our volunteers are tonight. All right, now this is the part where judges, you're going to have to use your imagination, as will you folks out there in chat land. Our first guest appearing tonight is coming to us all the way from Saudi Arabia, where it's the crack of middle of the night out there. And because of that, there might be a couple of connection problems. So we have called an audible, and we've gone audible. So you will not have a video. I want you to just imagine a strapping young Saudi Arabian lad, and his name is Big Salmon. Big Salmon, how are you doing tonight?
Very wonderful. How are you, Titan? I am absolutely honored to be in this very stream. I have been a member of Aquatik before day 1, so it is an absolute amazing honor to be in this very stream. Thank you for asking me, Titan.
Thank you for agreeing to come all the way. Now, you get no extra bonus points, just so you know, for going all the way across the world there, but we do appreciate that. And arguing the con side of things, who also gets bonus points for being a return person, a return volunteer, is our friend Loco Nico. Loco, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, Titan. How are you doing?
I am doing fine. Thank you very much. Thank you both for taking this time tonight. That's awesome. All right. Now, we all know how this is going to work. Earlier tonight, there was a coin toss, and Big Salmon did win and did elect to defer. So, Loco, you're going first. You are arguing the con side. You will have 4 minutes for your opening argument. Big Salmon, you have then 4 minutes for your opening argument. And then since Salmon went second, Loco, you get to ask Big Salmon 4 rebuttal questions. Each of those, by the way, Big Salmon, is a 1-minute answer, and then you get to return the favor to Loco Nico, and then Loco Nico will spend 2 minutes wrapping up, and Big Salmon gets the last word. Now, one last little thing here, because Big Salmon is not here via video, he won't be able to see the clock on his screen. So, unfortunately, I'm going to interrupt you, Salmon, at the 30 seconds, just to say 30 seconds, so that you know. That's all you'll hear me say. 30 seconds, just so you know that it's time to wrap up. For you, Loco Nico, you will hear that ever-present sound that we all loved. Let us hear it, Riptide. And in this corner, Loco Nico arguing. Okay, so that will be the sound that you have 30 seconds left for your argument, and of course that the time is up. Okay, so we are going to start this off again. Tonight's topic is digital versions of video games should be less expensive than physical copies. Loco Nico, you are here to argue the con side, disagreeing with that statement. Make your case.
Okay, so we all agree that video games are a big part of life, and there's a lot of production that goes into it. A lot of video games, whether they be AAA or indie games, there's a lot of development that goes into any video game. So I would argue, in fact, kind of a crazy idea that digital copies should be they should be kind of like the base price for a video game. And then if you want to get a physical copy, it would cost more, because then you're factoring in production costs and the fact that, quite honestly, hard physical copies are coming kind of obsolete. And I'll get into that in a minute. So just on the side of hardware, I personally I'm one of those old people who like having physical copies of things. So quite personally, I would actually pay more to own a physical copy, because when you look at prices of hardware, even if you're looking at base prices for consumers to buy, Blu-ray discs for PS3 discs, PS4 discs, I'm sorry, even PS5 I think now is still running on Blu-ray discs or something similar. 100 gigabyte archival Blu-ray disc can go anywhere from right now retail for a single going $12.50 and to a pack of 25, I think, for $11.94. So that's not a lot of money in terms of just pure hardware. And then you have packaging and paying other people. Yeah. Even if you look on something on the aspect of Nintendo, even if you look at just buying something to hold a digital space, 128 gigabyte micro SD SanDisk card costs $26.99. So just in terms of the pure physical aspect of a game, you're technically should be paying more because you're paying for hardware as well. Whereas in a digital copy, you're just playing for the base game. You're just paying for the content that the developers intended to get. Now, me personally, I deal with a lot of digital content as well. And so I know that whether you're dealing with a movie or music or video games, it's that whenever you go see it in person or you go see anything that has to do with a physical copy, in terms of a movie, a CD, anything like that, you are paying more for that than technically through digital, because again, you're buying that. And if I were to release an album, say tomorrow, if I were to drop a physical CD, I personally would put it as a certain price on digital and leave it that way, but then charge more, because I know that production and shipping and the cost of materials also factor into any prices that you might have for any type of media. So personally, that's what I would do if I was ever in that kind of space. So I don't understand why bigger companies are doing that when you're talking, millions of sales. The biggest example that I found was that Cyberpunk 2076 or 2077, they did 13 million copies sold, and I think they only sold 24% in physical copies, and I think the other 76% was all digital. So the fact that it's going obsolete as well, I personally think that they should be charging more for physical copies and less for digital copies.
All right. Thank you very much. Big Salmon, you are here to argue the pro side, agreeing with this statement. Make your case.
Okay. So um, I'm gonna start with a little fact about the whole physical production thing. For in instance, I'm not gonna argue that digital should be cheaper than physical, but it's that physical should be more expensive than digital. Why do I think like that? You see, the materials that go into making a physical release and the labor done to it is already a little. It's it's kind of already a huge factor into making a physical copy. Let's suppose the maintenance that goes into making a physical copy. There is the making the packaging. There is burning a copy of the game from the from the studio straight to a single digital Blu-ray drive and putting it into the box and like packaging it. That's already taking up a CD. That's taking up a package, which I'm gonna go into the materials used in a bit, and already the labor into delivering it into places like Walmart, into Best Buy, into Target, and whatever. That already but let's compare that to say buying it straight from digitals like Steam or GOG or the PlayStation Store, when you literally can just go into the game page, pay $60 from PayPal or your credit card, and it goes straight to your account with at no extra work. You don't need to buy it. You don't need to go out and buy it. You don't need to slot it into your machine. None of that. You just download it and get on with it. And it's easier to share digital compared to physical, because if you buy a physical copy and want to share with your pals, you need to give the physical copy to your friend so that he could play, but that leaves you without a copy to play with him. But it's easier to share, which is already takes up half the amount of materials used by buying two copies. And the materials used to make a physical copy is already a little bit valuable. According to Wikipedia, the packaging used to make a CD case, polyester, is used for things like insulation. It's also used for the shells for smoke detectors, and makes other packaging things like the cereal boxes, the tissue boxes, and all that. So it's already a little bit valuable for packaging and protection. So and it's already a little bit valuable. So I'm going to end this with a little with a bit of statistics. The amount of physical copies that use the polyester used in CD cases is already 35% compared to other usages, like what I said, insulation and the shells used in smoke detectors. That's already 65% of all. That's 35% of all polyester on planet Earth just used for packaging. So it's already a little bit valuable, and I'm not saying that it has to make like $10 or $20 more expensive. It just needs a little price bump the compared to digital releases. So I'm going to end this with a little note of thanks to Wikipedia, to simple Google searches for my points. This is where I got my points from. Thank you.
And right at the buzzer. Okay, thank you very, very much. Loco Nico, you now have 4 rebuttal questions. Go ahead with your first question.
Did we just argue the same point?
I was going to ask you that question.
I think we did. I'm at a loss, quite honestly, because I think that's exactly what we just did. So, yeah. I don't have any questions really, honestly. I'm kind of at a loss, really.
All right, so let me ask you a question, Salmon. Do you have any, based on Nico's opening statement, do you have any questions for him?
Honestly, his opening statement is already clear, and he already made his point. So honestly, I have no questions from me to Nico, except except the fact that he already supported my point. Really is that's kind of I thank him for that.
Yeah, he did argue on your side, I will admit. So, yep, absolutely. Let me ask you a question, Loco Nico. If there had been, just for food for thought for the group out there, if Big Salmon had been arguing that the games should not be different price, did you have any questions just on that concept? Assuming you had not argued the same side.
So my whole thing is that in terms of digital versus is that there are different maintenance costs. So if you can argue the fact that the maintenance costs of a digital server, for example, would be more than the price of physical manufacturing and labor in terms of physical production, then I could see where you were going with that. But that's the other thing, is just that, what are the maintenance costs of digital games in terms of servers, I guess, in terms of online games.
Yeah, makes sense. And Salmon, do you have any last words as far as your opinions on either of these two sides? Since obviously, yes, you're right, you guys were arguing the same side. Do you have any opinions, assuming that you had heard opposing arguments, what questions you would have followed up with?
You're a bit laggy there, Tyne. Can you repeat that?
Yes, if let's just say that I believe that you're wrong, and that the physical games and the digital games should not be different prices. It's the same content. I'm getting, as a gamer, I'm getting the same pleasure. I'm getting the same enjoyment. I've got big... When it rains, it pours. I don't know if it's raining in Saudi Arabia, but it is pouring here in Naples, Florida, I guess. So,
It's not really that much.
and let me just ask this first. Big Salmon, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay, let me try that one more time. Let's pretend for a moment that I am telling you I disagree with you. That when I buy a game, I get the same content, whether it's physical or digital, just because I happen to have a flyer tucked in my desk drawer that has all wonderful graphics about this game doesn't do me any good when I'm a player. So what if I disagreed with you? What kinds of questions would you ask me on my side?
So, what are the things that come in a physical release of a game other than the case, right? Other than the disc, of course, you're already paying for a poster, you're already paying for a manual, you're already paying for materials. So basically, I'm not saying that physical games should have like a $10 or $20 price markup compared to digital. Is that it's only like say $5 for instance for the maintenance, for the labor, you need to like keep your disc in pristine condition at all times for it to even work. The toothpaste technique and all that. You already need to keep it in a pristine condition for it to even work. Meanwhile, in digital, you don't need that. You're already paying for a working copy of the game that's always there for you. So the digital does not take up that much materials. It does not take up like physical space and all that. And if you want a poster, you can just buy one separately. And that's what I would say.
Okay, now we're getting into interesting topics. Now I have a rebuttal for this.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, see, so he's talking about how physical copies of the game should not be priced because of, it's such a small number, right? So, okay. Just looking at let's see here, any random site. This is pcgames.com. Cyberpunk 2077 sold 13.7 million copies in 2020, half on PC. So 37% of sales were digital and 27% of sales were buying retail through physical means. So you want to take in just a basic price on any kind of small piece of hardware. Let's say that they're running an 1194 disc. And let's see, what was that number again that I said? It was, sorry, I closed the window for some
24%.
reason. 24%. Yeah, so 27% of 13.7 million units. You're talking about a margin. Let's just do a real quick math bit. So it's 30 million copies times a $15 CD. That's $55 million, $55.5 million. So if you're talking about just in price point, that 27%, just based on the physical aspect as well as owning the game, they could have made $55.5 million just on that.
I wish to reply that it doesn't. I'm not talking that we need to abolish physical copies. No, I am saying that the price of a physical copy of the game needs to factor in the physical materials used when buying that thing. As I said already, the materials used in it are already pretty valuable. Polyester is used for insulation and smoke detectors. You're already paying for the same material used for very important additions to a house. So if you're factoring in the valuable materials used in a physical release of a game, you're already paying for a valuable piece of materials. And
Okay,
again,
I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying that physical copies are bad. I'm not saying that physical copies should be way more expensive. I'm just saying that the price of a physical release of a game needs to factor in the labor and the materials used. That was my point.
All right. Thank you both very, very much, judges and chat community. I'm going to ask, since tonight is the night of audibles, so I'm going to call an audible here as well. Obviously, I think I figured out what the problem is here. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the second time something like this has happened. The first time we caught it right before the show, and the poor contestant, I'm sure you remember this, Riptide, the poor contestant had to argue a side he hadn't even prepared because he realized he had made a mistake. And I think there's a common denominator here. In both of these circumstances, our topic had a negative. It was so that the con is the negative of a negative. In this case, its digital version should be less expensive. So the con of that would be that they should be more expensive. So anyway, or they should not be less expensive. So we're going to have to be a little more careful when we do that. But for the audible I'm calling while we're wrapping up here is for you judges and you in the chat community. I want you to tell me which side you fall on. I know I've been every show I'm telling you judges we don't want your opinion, we want you to base it on tonight's argument. Since both arguments were the same size, tell me if you agree. Do you believe that digital versions of video games should be less expensive? Do you agree with that, or do you think that digital versions should be the same price? So give me just an either or on that one. And while I'm waiting on that reply, let's talk about what next week's topic is. We're not going to have the same problem next week because it is not a negative in this topic. Next week's topic will be Game Pass is the best darn deal going in gaming. So next week's topic, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. Now, you guys need to get involved out there. You guys need to jump on here, maybe win yourself $100 or maybe even just $20 in gift prizes to your favorite platform. But here's how you get involved. You go to our form and you fill it out. Very easy. It is, you gonna put that one up there, Riptide? We've got making, it is aquatik.gg/making, thank you very much. Aquatik.gg/making waves. We have simplified the heck out of this form. So you just give us some basic contact information and we will set you up for next week or for an upcoming week. So go back to that website, go back to that form and fill it out as soon as you can. Again, it's aquatik.gg/making waves. All right, so again, I apologize. Tonight we got a little confused here, but there is always next week. Next week's topic is going to be a great one. Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. In the meantime, we're going to be putting up on the chat the decision that the judges and the chat community have made for whether or not they agree with tonight's topic. And in the meantime, before we go, I definitely want to call out the wonderful sponsor that we've had tonight, Meta Meals. Now, you guys, you've got to give this stuff a try. Meta Meals, it's made specifically to address the needs of the gaming industry. Their mission is to help all gamers save on time so they can focus on doing what they love. Whether you're an esports pro, a streamer looking to build your following, or even just a casual gamer at home, we want to simplify your nutrition so you can make your game time, maximize your game time. Meta Meals are powder-based milkshakes. They are prepared in like under a minute while providing the optimum balance of protein and carbs you need to get through that grind. Now, I know, bring me up here. I want you to see this one here. Chocolate. This is great stuff. You are going to go to 7Cs. You are going to buy this stuff. And when you do, make sure you put in Making Waves to get 10% off all of the Meta Meal products. Okay, looks like no big surprise here. Big Salmon won since he was arguing the pro side of the statement. So no big surprise there. Big Salmon, I think it's bedtime over there in Saudi Arabia, but we really, really appreciate you. Might as well just stay up and use $100 to buy yourself some breakfast somewhere. In the meantime,
I feel very, very honored to be in this debate in general. I am very, very, very happy that I won. Thank you, Loco Nico, for being a great challenger, and I hope you win someday. And I am very honored to stream in general. I've been always in the chat for Fireside all the time, and it's kind of weird seeing myself being in the stream itself, you know. And I'm happy that I won. Again, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm happy, and I'm glad that Loco Nico was a great challenger, and I finally got a W in something.
You got a W.
Thank you
Yes,
very
well, we're
much.
glad for you too. Now tell us where we can find you online when we're looking for you, Big Salmon.
Well, I'm gonna be. You see, I don't stream that much, but I do have a Twitter account, but it's suspended at the moment. You can find me in Twitter at Destiny Shitpost. So that's where I'm at most of the time. But I do have a YouTube channel. It's just called Big Salmon. You can find me with a Beano's profile pic. So that's where I'm there most of the time.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Now, Loco Nico, I mean, I think it could be argued that you won, really, because you stated the case first. So you did state the winning side, and you were the first to do so.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that we had the same concept, but just from different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
That was very, very interesting. Now, where can we find you?
I run a podcast. If you guys want to see it, it's at TCT Podcasts, plural, anywhere, Instagram, Twitter. If you look us up on Facebook, you know, just the whole thing. This week, we have an episode going up that's a Final Fantasy trivia battle between a streamer and myself, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So if you guys want it, just check it out. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, apparently Riptide likes it, so.
Well, if Riptide likes it, if it's good enough for Riptide, then it's definitely good enough for me. Thank you both very much. Really appreciate all your time. Great job, both of you. Riptide, thank you for all your help. Judges, thank you very much for your help as well. Now, everybody out there, please fill out the form, get involved in next week's show, and come back and visit us in 7 more days when, once again, we are going to make some waves.